Hi, my name is Eddie, and I consider it a pleasure to tell you my story on how I came to Arctic Spine. Um, I've had 3 spinal surgeries prior to coming here over my lifetime, with 2 of those 3 being in the last 2 years. They've been in the exact same area, my lumbar area. When I came to Arctic Spine, they were recommended to me by the nurse of my own personal doctor. She had come here and had spinal surgery by Dr. Maxwell, and when my doctor stated that you have to go have more surgery on your spine, the recommendation was to come here. I have a extensive law enforcement background, which only means I'm really used to doing a lot of research. I've also been an assistant university professor and a dean of a university for 12 years, so I did a lot of research on Arctic Spine because I personally had not heard of them. I've lived in Alaska since 1964, with the exception of going away a couple of years for work and going away a few years for my education. What I saw on the internet, the people I talked to, was all very positive, and so I made an appointment to come and see them, and I came in and saw them the end of December, I believe it was, of 2016. I was immediately taken, not aback, but just pleasantly surprised at how I was treated right from the very person who met me, which was a safety security officer, opened the door for me, actually met me out in the parking lot, and he hadn't seen me before, my first time here, and brought to the front desk, and the ladies who worked the front desk here were just extremely professional, but beyond that, they were also very personal, always a smile on their face. They really seemed to be happy that I was there. They gave me the paperwork, did the paperwork. I had made an appointment, so I got in to see Dr. Maxwell. Immediately noted that he was very casual, but at the same time, my research had shown he was very professional. But he dealt with me first as a person, not as a client or as a customer or even as a patient. I had MRIs and x-rays that had already been taken, so we went through them, and my pain was, everyone's pain is terrible. Mine was equally incredibly terrible. There were times where I couldn't walk, the pain in my left leg especially, but I was also having a little bit of pain on my right leg. He took the time, we met for almost an hour. He took the time to not just speak with me, but to show me on the MRI the areas in which he was talking about, and he let me know where the corresponding pain was. One of the things that I immediately liked about him was he focused on my greatest pain, which was my left leg, without ignoring my right leg, and let me know that if we focused on the problems in my lower spine that was causing the pain to my left leg, that he really believed it would be something that the pain on my right leg would be taken care of. Like I said, I had 3 spinal surgeries before I saw Dr. Maxwell, 2 of them in the last 2 years, and I did like what he said that, but I told him, Dr. Maxwell, I don't want to have any more spinal surgeries. It's been 4 years since I've been able to go on a vacation. It's been 4 years since I've been able to be pain-free. So, while I am very appreciative that you want to be conservative, I just want you to know that if I do have surgery with you, that I need you to fix me to where I won't be back here next year or 2 years from now or 4 years or 5 years from now. And he said, I understand what you're saying, but I need you to understand that sometimes doing less actually is doing more when it comes to the spine. So that was our first meeting. I then had subsequent meetings with him prior to my surgery. Each time he brought me up to date as to what the procedure would be, what was going on. In one of my previous surgeries, I had had a terrible reaction to the anesthesia, that after I had come out of surgery and been released to go home, about a week later, my body just started shutting down, and I wound up having to spend about 16 hours in an emergency room while they stabilized me. I had told that to them. Their anesthesiologist, and I apologize, I can't remember his name, he called me up. He called me at home and said, I'm going to be the anesthesiologist in your surgery. I would like to meet with you in person and just go over your past history, because I noted that you had problems back in your 2014 back surgery. So I came in and met with him for over an hour face-to-face. He asked detailed questions. He asked who the anesthesiologist was. He asked for my permission to get the medical record so that he could see what had happened and what had taken place. And that has never happened to me. And beyond my back surgeries, I've had numerous other surgeries, again, because of my law enforcement background. That was a first to me, and I was quite taken aback in a very positive way that an anesthesiologist was meeting with me prior to a surgery. In all my other surgeries, I met the anesthesiologist as I was already hooked up to an IV and the surgery was about to take place. So this was a new thing for me. As it turned out, I did have my surgery. The anesthesiologist did a fantastic job. I had no negative reactions from it. Dr. Maxwell did operate. Though I told him, please, don't be so conservative about my right side, but I trust you. It turned out to be that was probably the greatest words I stated, that I trusted him. He had earned it by then. And when I came out of surgery, he talked with me and he let me know that he had fixed everything that was giving me such terrible left leg pain. And again, I want to say that I know everybody's pain is terrible, but mine was at some time where I couldn't even walk. On a pain scale of 0 to 10, it was a consistent 15 or 16. When I woke up from surgery, that was gone. I mean, it was gone. And it's been now about 2 months since that surgery, and I've had no pain from it whatsoever. And as he had first told me in our first meeting, that he really believed, after looking at everything, that fixing what was going wrong with my spine and the disc would in fact alleviate what was starting to happen on my right leg. That turned out to be the case too. I have no pain in my leg on the right side also, and it's just been great. I do want to say this as to why I've been so impressed with Arctic Spine. I hurt myself at work, and 5 weeks after my spinal surgery, I had to have right shoulder rotator and bicep cup surgery. And that surgery went like every other surgery I've ever had. As far as with the anesthesiologist, I met them for the first time when they were getting ready to have the surgery. And I had let him know, because in filling out the paperwork, I had told him I have a past history in 2014 of having a severe reaction to anesthesia about a week later, where it shut down my kidneys, it started shutting down my liver, and I wound up spending, like I said, about 16 hours in an emergency room getting stabilized. Now, Arctic Spine, the anesthesiologist at Arctic Spine had given me what he did for anesthesia, because when he had met with me, he knew that I was going to have another surgery but then that one was going to be on my shoulder. So he said, Eddie, here's what everything I did anesthesia-wise, give that to the anesthesiologist who's going to be doing your next surgery. So as I was laying there in the gurney, and the anesthesiologist came out, and he had read the papers I had filled out, and he did ask, he says, I see that in 2014 you had a hard time. And I told him what had happened, and he said, I know you had a surgery about 5 or 6 weeks ago. How did that go? And I handed him the paper from the anesthesiologist for Dr. Maxwell, and he looked at it and he goes, well, what is this? And I told him, I said, this is what the anesthesiologist gave it back to me. He said, I'll take care of it, but thank you. He was very nice, very professional, but equally uncaring personal-wise. I don't think it was a coincidence that a week after my surgery here, I wound up being rushed to the emergency room again with serious conditions because of the anesthesiologist, or a reaction to the anesthesia that I had during the surgery for my shoulder, which again just cemented to me the type of support you get here from beginning, during, and afterwards. And it's not just Dr. Maxwell, who is definitely on the top of the chain, but everyone here, from the person who's in charge of cleaning the place to the administrative staff. This is what I have found this entire Arctic Spine team to believe in through action. It is not enough for them to do the right thing. They do the right thing the right way the first time. And that is why it is a pleasure for me to tell my story. If you're thinking of spinal or neck surgery, you don't have to think any further. This is the place to go, both professionally and personally. You're going to be treated as an individual, and your welfare, your well-being, truly, even above the finances, is their number one concern. Thank you for letting me share.